Many Christians will immediately think of Jesus as being a person in the Bible who never died. But that's actually not true. The main doctrine of Christianity, according to the Gospels, is that Jesus did in fact die before he was resurrected from the dead 3 days later. So, who were the chosen ones in the Bible who didn't die? What did they do? And what happened to them? Imagine this happening today. If people never died, the world would be a very different place. For starters, retirement homes would go out of business, which would be a huge blow to the bingo industry. On the bright side, family reunions would be a lot more interesting, as you'd have to make room for your great, 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 great grandparents. The population would also grow exponentially, leading to some serious overcrowding issues. We'd probably have to start colonizing other planets just to make room for everyone. Of course, this would also mean that the phrase young at heart would take on a whole new meaning. On a more serious note, if people never died, it would fundamentally change the way we view life and death. The concept of mortality gives our lives meaning and urgency. Without it, we might lose our sense of purpose and motivation. However, the Bible does actually give the names of 2 individuals that never died, and a third, mysterious person who may still be out there. In the Bible, there are 2 individuals who are explicitly mentioned as not having died: Enoch and Elijah. Enoch, the great-grandfather of Noah, is described in Genesis 5:24 as having walked with God. Then he was no more, because God took him away. This is often interpreted as Enoch being taken directly to heaven by God, without experiencing death. His story is important because it illustrates the possibility of a life beyond physical death, and the reward for a life lived in close fellowship with God. Enoch, also the great-great-great-great-grandson of Adam and the father of Methuselah, is definitely a bit of a mystery man in the Bible. He's one of the few people who didn't die the old-fashioned way. God just took him away. In Genesis 5:22, it says that Enoch walked with God. Now, I'm no theologian, but I'm pretty sure that's not a literal stroll down the street. It's more like he had a close relationship with God himself. The Bible doesn't give us a lot of details about Enoch's life, but Hebrews 11:5 tells us that he pleased God, which is a pretty big deal. And Jude 1:14-15 quotes a prophecy from Enoch about the Lord coming with thousands of holy ones to judge everyone. He's also a bit of a hero in the Faith Hall of Fame in Hebrews 11. And again, let's not forget that he's the great-grandfather of Noah, who had a pretty big adventure with a boat and some animals. In the end, Enoch is a bit of an enigma for sure. He's a man who walked with God, was taken by God, and left behind a legacy of faith. And who knows, maybe he's up there right now, sipping a heavenly latte and watching the world go by. One last note about Enoch. He even has a book. Originally part of the Jewish and Christian canon, it was later excluded due to its wild and fantastical content. It's like the Bible's version of Game of Thrones, with fallen angels, giants, and a tour of heaven and hell. The book is attributed to Enoch, the great-grandfather of Noah, who apparently had some pretty crazy visions. It's divided into 5 sections, each more mind-bending than the last. There's the Book of Watchers, where the fallen angels teach humans all sorts of forbidden knowledge, and the Book of Parables, where Enoch goes on a celestial tour and meets some pretty interesting characters. We will go more into his book in a future video, so like, subscribe, and stick around. Next up, Elijah, a prophet in the Old Testament. He was taken up to heaven in a whirlwind, accompanied by a chariot of fire and horses of fire, 2 Kings 2:11. His departure was witnessed by his successor, Elisha. Elijah's story is significant because it demonstrates God's power and the possibility of being taken directly to heaven without experiencing death. We also know Elijah had an edge to him. He lived during the reign of King Ahab, who was not exactly known for his righteousness. Elijah had the guts to stand up to Ahab and his wicked wife, Jezebel. He even challenged the prophets of Baal to a divine showdown on Mount Carmel. On another occasion, Elijah prayed to God, and fire came down from heaven, consuming the sacrifice and proving that the Lord was the one true God. After this, Elijah had the prophets of Baal killed. This didn't sit well with Jezebel, who then threatened Elijah's life. Elijah, being a human after all, got scared and ran away. He ended up in a cave, where he had a bit of a pity party. But God wasn't done with him yet. He sent an angel to feed Elijah and give him a pep talk. Elijah then went on to anoint a new king for Israel and his own successor, Elisha. Elijah's story doesn't end there. According to the Bible, he was taken up to heaven in a whirlwind, accompanied by a chariot of fire. In the New Testament, Elijah is seen as a precursor to John the Baptist. Jesus even says that Elijah has come, referring to John. So Elijah's legacy lives on. He's a symbol of courage, faith, and standing up for what's right, even when it's not easy. Now, who is the third mysterious person who never tasted death? Well, it seems like Melchizedek pulled a Gandalf and just vanished into thin air. According to Hebrews 7:3, Melchizedek is described as having no father or mother, no genealogy, no beginning of days or end of life. It's like he just popped into existence and then poof, he was gone. Some people believe Melchizedek might have been a pre-incarnate appearance of Jesus, while others think he was just a regular old human priest king who had a really mysterious backstory. But one thing's for sure, Melchizedek definitely left a lasting impression on the Bible, even if we don't know exactly what happened to him in the end. Maybe he's still out there, sipping wine and blessing people in some hidden corner of the universe. From these individuals, we can learn the importance of living a life in close relationship with God. Both Enoch and Elijah were known for their righteousness and their dedication to God. Their stories serve as a reminder that a life lived in obedience to God can lead to blessings beyond our understanding, including the possibility of eternal life.